Wow.
Wow. Welcome back. I hate how every time we do that, it's so we stare at each other, go, wow. Right, right, right.
That one was kind of hard. We had that little, like
Our delay.
our little media delay because we're on a different platform today.
Also, if you're watching, also in general, welcome back to Into the Industry. This is the podcast me and Alana have talking about everything related to theater and Broadway and us living our lives and the one of the millions of other theater podcasts that exist in this world. But you decided that you wanted to listen to this one specifically. Good for you. If
Shout
you're
out, you got
watching,
good taste.
if you're watching, you will realize that me and Alana for the first time are not in the same place. Can you tell them why, Alana?
We're still in the same city. We just decided that I think it's just best that we just, maybe have some distance from each other physically.
Yeah, I've had a little too much of you.
Yeah, we just see each other too much, and we just thought that maybe like a nice physical distance would be better for the future of this podcast. No, just totally kidding. That was me acting. Thank you so much. Please hiring all the casting directors watching this. No, we just decided that we would try out this new little format to just see what it's like. I think I'm liking it so far. I have no idea what it will be at the end.
I've used this before. Now we're just talking about the form. Well,
Well,
we're recording the podcast. I've used it before.
hashtag
Back in the day, I had another podcast called Hot Tops. It still exists on Spotify. If you ever want to go up and listen to it, I don't suggest because it is crunchy boots. It's me and our friend Nico just shooting the shit for about an hour, kind of like me and Alana now, but less focused and that has no real topics.
Hey, but it was a fun time.
Well, what happened between our last podcast and now? Our podcasts are a little late. We're still trying to figure out scheduling issues when it comes to getting this podcast recorded. And also, it's hard to find guests these days. People are just revving up for this fall season, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like it is. I think that's something that's like not, I think, really known is like after the Tonys, I think people think that like things just slow down in the theater industry, but like it's quite the opposite. Like I've never been more busy in my entire life. Like with everything, like the fall, late summer into fall in New York is like crazy pants. Like everybody's so busy all the time, but yeah, it's great. We love it
I
here.
mean, in terms of like, I agree with you. People think that like after the Tonys, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's it. But that's not necessarily true because then people who are gearing up for like the fall season, because after the Tonys, it's the start of the new season and all
hmm
the new fall shows are coming in. This year we actually don't. There's actually not a lot of fall shows coming in, which is kind of
There's
crazy.
a lot of fall shows coming in.
Not on Broadway, not big shows.
Yes. Do you want me
Give
to
them to
pull up
me.
do
I
you
said,
want me
give
to
them to
pull
me.
up
No,
my
off the
list?
top of your head.
No, I'll pull up my list real quick. Hold on. I created a whole thing for this for my other job. I'll run through them right now. Okay, so here, all the upcoming musicals that are gonna be coming into the fall. We have Beetlejuice is coming back in October.
That's
We
not real.
have
Never
Chess.
mind. Never mind. Never mind. Right.
Do you know something I don't know?
No, I was just saying it's Beetlejuice. It's the tour. It's the same thing that they're doing with Mamma Mia. It's the tour going
Right,
sitting into a Broadway theater. Or
but
they
it's still
consider
coming
that
back.
a new show
We have
coming in.
Chess. We have Ragtime. You have Romeo and Michelle, the new musical. You
That's off
have
Broadway.
Queen still. You have Queen of Versailles. No comment there. You have Two Strangers Carrying a Cake.
I've never heard of
And
that.
then it like blew up on TikTok. It's like that like really fast. It was a cute like little song that like blew up on TikTok, and now they're coming to Broadway. And then for plays, we have Art, which just started their previews with James Corden,
Next.
Bobby Cannavale, and Neil Patrick Harris. And then you have Bug, and with Carrie Coon. We have Little Bear Ridge Road, Marjorie Prime, Oedipus, Waiting for Godot.
I
I'll
think I
use the
meant
British pronunciation.
I don't think I meant like there wasn't shows coming in because obviously there were shows. I'm saying there wasn't like there is not a lot of big shows coming in. Like there's Queen of Versailles, which I guess is a big musical, and then or big that's probably gonna be the biggest show coming in besides like
Well,
Beetlejuice.
I don't know how big it's gonna like be anymore. Do we want to?
All I'm gonna say is that I hope it's good. I know a handful of people who worked on it for its
Yeah.
out of town. And I think it's a cute story, and I think that there's good people in it. And I think that people need to stop being closet Republicans. And that's just my opinion.
Well, I don't know if she's closet anymore. I think she quite literally.
Well, she's being squeaky clean. Also, like, these theater star girlies need to get their shit together. I'm sick of them doing press tours and like just fucking up. Whatever happened to having a publicist?
They turned into social media content creators.
I guess, but like between Nicole and between Kristen and between Billy Porter, which I hope Billy Porter is okay because he's
Yeah.
very sick right now. Like, whatever happened to having a publicist and being like media trained and like being like, hey, you work in probably some of the most liberal, like progressive place to work at right now, besides maybe the top level, the really rich people. But like, maybe you shouldn't out yourself as like, being a part of the party that's literally the exact opposite of the thing we do.
Right. Because it's like something to be said of like literally like you are entering into a building every single day, and the people who work in that building are some of the people whose rights are being taken away. Like,
Literally. And you're
I,
like, well, I'm just gonna go make my money off of them. Right.
yeah,
Cool. Whatever.
that like it's not making sense, and it's also not like the creating a frankly a safe environment that I feel like all of the unions have fought so hard to work for, you know?
I mean, it's the right of freedom of speech, and like you're allowed to believe obviously whatever you want to believe in and whatever. But again, I think it's just more of like taking accountability for yourself, and also like, I mean, honestly, I would be more preferred if they double down. I would rather Nicole Scherzinger be like, you know what? I voted for Trump. I'm a Republican, and that's what I did. Sorry, you guys are mad about it. Rather than being radio silent about it after she got caught, and then literally just being like, I'm sorry, I hurt people's feelings. It was never my intention. Let's keep buying tickets to my play. Like, I'm just over it. I'm sick of it. Or I
Yeah.
need theater people to literally be like, no, you need to leave. Like we did with that Cinderella girl. What's her name? What is her name? And Catherine McPhee.
Yeah. God, I can never remember her name.
I almost said Laura Benanti, but that's not her name.
Is
Laura
it Laura
Osnes.
Osnes? Yes, okay.
I said Laura
So
Osnes came out as a raging Republican, and so did Catherine McPhee, and we said, girls, goodbye. Leave.
thank you for your time belting. We're good.
Literally. And then Laura Osnes is doing movies on the Great American Channel. So anyway, this is a great segue. I said, well, thank you for listening to me rage about Republicans in theater. Today's episode is about the family dynamic of working in theater and like maybe not coming from a theater family. Alana.
Yeah, I think we just kind of wanted to talk about today. Once again, it's just Darian and I, so we be gabbing. But like we're gonna talk a little bit about I think about like our own experiences with our families and I think also kind of some talking about of things to do when and if you're in a situation with your family who they don't really understand the theater industry, maybe like some talking points that you can do and kind of how to like navigate just dealing with family and being in this business.
Yeah. I would say I'm the only person in my family that does theater regardless. Like my
Mhm.
brothers, my mom, no one ever pursued the arts. I would say the only thing was like my brother, the closest thing was my brother played band. My brother played band. My brother was in band and then like I was in choir. So they all kind of thought that, theater is, let Darian go do his little thing, go to his play practice. And then when I kind of made the decision that I wanted to make it into like a career, I wanted to go to school for it. My mom made this whole big deal being like, okay, if you're gonna like pack up, move to New York, like this is it. I don't know how to help you. This isn't something that she knows what to do. This is like, I'm just gonna throw my kid into the wilderness in the wild in New York City and be like, I hope for the best. Which,
Mhm.
hindsight's 2020, things worked out for me, which is great. But like, I can understand how my mom was hesitant about letting me do this instead of like going to a regular liberal arts school and getting like a regular degree and stuff. But yeah, how did your parents take it when you were like, I want to star?
I think that like both of my parents have always been like super supportive of me going into theater. I mean, I started doing theater when I was like 6, so it's kind of already been like a known fact that I'm just going to work in this industry at some point. I think actually I used to be very much like, oh, I'm just gonna be an actress. And then I think it also like later shifted to kind of like just working in this industry and like having a career in that. But my parents itself have been super supportive of that. I think it's like some people in like the rest of my family who don't get it.
Hmm.
And there are moments where they get it, but I'm like, I don't understand why I have to keep proving to you that this is what I'm doing with my life.
Right.
You know, and I think that that's a really big aspect of just dealing with family dynamics in theater. Of like, even though, you know, I'm not pursuing this career to prove something to them, but ultimately that's like, I think an underlying factor of just having a family, of like, you know, I'm pursuing this and this is what I'm doing, and it somehow turns into like I need to prove it to you that this is like a sustainable career path
Yeah.
in life, you know?
I think to literally being like, I think, sorry, my brain just like fizzled out for a second. When it comes to like parents, I think they just like want theater was never viewed as like a stable job. It's always something
Yeah.
that you need to keep working to or like audition for. And like there's gonna be times where like you're gonna have to use your survival job. Cut to the survival job episode 2. Thank you very much.
Please go watch.
And like having that be your job for a while, but then also continuing your art and keep working until you can start working in your art again. And I think when parents or your family sees you not working in theater and like, let's say like you're doing your survival job or you're doing a more stable job for the time, that can get confused with like, oh, well, I guess it didn't work out. I guess you gave up.
Yeah.
And like I said, like my family has no idea. All their theater knowledge is through me almost directly. So they're like, oh well, it didn't work out, I guess. What are you gonna do now? But they don't understand like that's not how this works.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like peak pandemic when I kind of transitioned more into producing and theater admin. It was a big hoopla in my family because it was like, "Oh, I'm giving up." And to me, it was like, "Well, I'm not giving up, I'm just pivoting." And they're like, "But you have so much talent. Like when you're on stage, like it's
They're like, I
just
know.
so great and like people need to see that." And I'm like, "We're in a pandemic. Like what stage is open right now?" I'm like, "I need to work and I have an opportunity to still work in this industry just in like a different capacity." And I think that kind of took my family like a little while to kind of like wrap their heads around, of the fact of like maybe like I'm not gonna just be an actress. And I remember having like literal like fights with my dad about it, because he was the one that was like, I just don't want you to like lose yourself and like get stuck and you know whatnot. Like this isn't like, you know, it's hard to, I think, hear from some family members like this isn't what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
Like you're meant to do something else and you're not doing it. Like that's kind of difficult to hear sometimes
Yeah.
because you don't know if it's true or not. And then there's the reality side of it that like I need to make money and I need to work, so I'm going to go down this door that's kind of open for me right now, you know?
Yeah. And I think when it I also think there's a sacrifice when it comes to like doing the art. I wouldn't even just say this is like a theater conversation anymore when it just comes to like being an artist, when it comes to being either a visual artist, like a content artist or whatever. There's some sort of sacrifice that needs to happen that also like your family might not understand. Like when it comes to, you don't understand. We need to, or I get, when it comes to like rehearsal, you need like time allotted for yourself to be able to put away and rehearse for it. So it's like, why can't you come to great aunt Cheryl's 80th birthday party? It's like, well, I work. You don't work, you have rehearsal. That's work, baby. Like, having that conversation with like a stranger or coworker, it might not be the same way because when you have it with your family, they're just going to be honest with you. You're like, well, I think that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
until until they figure it out, until you allow them to figure it out. What would you say, like, I'm asking you, Alana, what would you say
Mm-hmm.
like the best coping was for you when it comes to like maybe having disagreements with your family about doing theater, or like what did you say to them to make them understand, and the sacrifices that you had to make when it comes to pursuing this as what you
Yeah.
want to do?
That's a really good question. I think that sometimes when dealing with difficult conversations like that and difficult emotions is like really letting yourself feel it. Like I remember like I cried a lot when all of this happened, or like when it would come up. So just like kind of going through the emotions, I remember that I would write a lot too, like I would journal about it, but also ultimately kind of understanding the fact that like nothing is forever and acting, like speak to my own like personal section of this, but I'm like acting is always going to be there and you can act at any different point in your life. Like it is always going to be there. So choosing the potential path to kind of steer away from that a little bit and work on a different side of the business is not necessarily full time, And I think that sometimes I have to say that to myself. Like, I can still act, I can go do whatever I want to do at any point in my life. But I always felt, and it's still a constant, like, mental struggle for me too, because I have to keep telling myself, and I really was scared when I first kind of started to steer away from acting a little bit, that I was like, I don't want to get stuck, but also doing this producer work and theater admin makes me happy.
Yeah.
So if I'm happy doing it, then I think that it's okay.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's more of a, I guess, a personal to you um thing, right? Not necessarily like your family being like, I coped with it being like, I like doing this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck what they want to see or hear or whatever. I like doing this. I would say like in terms of like, again, still doing theater, but like pivoting, like what I do now, like just being like a hairdresser and a makeup artist. My mom to this very day goes, well, you went to school for acting. Whatever happened to that? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, mom. I'm just like getting ready for my Broadway opening night. No, it's fine. No, no. Please mention that I'm not acting right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like my mom still does that, regardless of like what I do now. Bitch, I'll have an Emmy and an Oscar one day, being like, and my mom will still come to me like, well, you went to school for acting. You auditioning for anything lately, Lisa?
Crazy.
And kind of what you were saying, like it's more of like my own mind being like, I like what I'm doing right now. It fulfills the itch for me that even just performing just did. I love what I do now. And it's kind of like my mom can sit and think and wonder what I do and sit and mention that I went to school for acting and performing and I'm not doing it currently. Like, I'm happy right now. And also,
Mm-hmm.
the reality is, personally, with me, there's a bigger chance that I would have never made it to Broadway if I just continued acting by a great grand margin. There's hundreds of thousands of actors out there that never touched the Broadway stage or that never make it big in some TV show or some movie. And reality is like I've made more money than I ever did as an actor. I've had more opportunities than I ever had as an actor doing what I do now. And it's like pivoting from performing or from acting but still being in the theater space sometimes is a better option than just like not doing it anymore.
Hmm.
And that would I say like that's something that a lot of family or parents don't really understand is the act of pivoting or maybe finding something else that you like doing. Because you were like, oh, well, you were so great in your high school plays, or you were so good after you graduated high school and you were doing so well, but what are you doing now? That's just like something that families aren't going to understand unless you show them, unless you be like, this is my success that I've gained, or this is what I have achieved and what I'm doing now. That is still in the space that I want to do it, but it's not necessarily me belting a high C in the middle of the stage, you know?
Right. And sometimes, yes, 1,000% to that. But I think sometimes when you don't have family in the theater world, or who only use like the academic side of their brain every single day, when they don't fully understand the weight of the achievements that you've had, that is like so mentally taxing for some reason. I've had family members who have like, I was like really proud that I booked the like summer stock shows, because it was kind of like the first time that I had ever done summer stock before, and I was like super proud of it. And then I was so excited to go tell like family members that like I had booked, and they were like, "Oh wow, cool." And that was it. Either that or like other like family members, like when I like had like booked a short film, and it was the first short film that I booked, and I told somebody about it, and they were like, and it was a small role, and it was like not paid, but like it was still on camera work, because I had never really done that before, and I've been trying to like kind of get into film and TV more just to have the experience of it. But like I had told somebody, and they were like, "Oh, cool, that's awesome." They were like, "These are so great because, eventually, like, when you're making, so much more money, you can, like, look back on these, like, puny little films that you're doing now and, like, think that da 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 da." And I sat on the phone and I was like,
Not these puny little films. I'd have been like,
um, yeah, so it's like I think that that is also a really frustrating aspect of having family who's like not in theater, because they just don't get it. I'm like, you don't know how many auditions and how many like fights over email for scheduling like I had to go through in order to like be on set that day, in order to get that one credit on my resume. I'm like, you guys like don't understand that. And then also like that's super frustrating, and that's really like hurtful, because you know and that's something that I personally like still struggle with today, is like they can see me in a million shows, they can watch my videos, they can even ask me to sing live at a family function, yet I can't seem to get actual respect
mm-hmm.
for my career choice.
Yeah. And I mean, I think for some people, it's obviously, for some people, it's easier than others. Like some people are like, yeah, my mom's been, you have theater parents, you have a stage mom who's like, no, bitch, if we're doing this, we're doing this. And then she's as fully as committed to the bit as you are. Or you
Hmm.
have people who like, who just aren't going to see it until you win a freaking Tony or an Oscar. So it's like, it's a give and a take, but like as long as I say like moral of the story, it'd be like as long as you're consistent, as long as you're happy, and as long as you're making money doing what you like doing, or even sometimes not making any money, it's a way to get you where you want to be. Unto that Boop song, that's where I wanna be. Still never saw that show, but we can't go see Boop anymore. Sad.
Sad. Yeah, I think that I hope that for people who are listening or watching, that like you do have like a family member who, or multiple family members, or your whole family who are supportive of you, because having that support system while doing this career is like so necessary.
Yeah. And even finding that, I guess, like chosen family that you have, if like, let's say you move to the city, if you move to LA, if you move to New York, or if you left home in order to pursue what you wanted to do, having that chosen family that you find who are also there to like support you and like give you the energy that that you might need to keep going, that your family might not be able to give you, whether because you're so far away or because they just don't understand what you're doing. Having that support system is still important, regardless if it's biological or not.
Hmm.
And I would say maybe to like lighten the mood a little bit, to be like, shitty families doing shitty things, which is not what we were saying. But
No, no.
I would say, can you tell me a time that like your family saw like was like Alana needs to do this, or like she has something, or like was it going to one of your musicals in high school? Was it like seeing the reaction of other people when you were performing, or just seeing like your want and your like enthusiasm of doing it? Like, do you remember a time that your family ever was like, oh, this is what she's gonna do?
Yeah,
You go, no.
like no, there were like multiple times. I think that like every time like a family member would kind of like be like, "Okay, yeah, like we'll go see your show." Like and then after they saw it, they were like it was that the Demi Lovato Camp Rock of like, "Wait, she's really
She's really
good."
good.
It was like that like every time like somebody came to see a show. But like a specific moment that like has really like kind of like stuck with me that was like just kind of like to more truth of like how much like I've kind of dealt with family dynamics in theater is like in high school my dad used to live in the same city as us, and so he would come to like every show that I was in, and then eventually like moved away, but kind of like before he moved away I think he like stopped coming to the shows, and then when he moved away he said that he was still gonna come back for every single show and then didn't, and I would always like we would always like save tickets. I would always like offer tickets, and then it would always be like, "Oh, sorry, I can't come. Like I'm not going to be able to make it," and all of this stuff. But it was like more so to the point of like he's not coming because he didn't think that I needed like his support for this. And then it was my senior year. It was the last play. It was Streetcar Named Desire. Shout out to the last episode, to the other episode when we talked about high school theater, when I said that I played Blanche in A Streetcar Named Desire. So it was like a huge role. It was a huge undertaking. Like it was also like a very emotional role as well. But he finally came to that show because I begged him. I was like, please, please, please come. Like this, like it's my last play. And I was like, we all know that I'm probably gonna be in a fucking musical at any point in my life, but I'm like, it's my last play, you know? So he came to the show and ended up like kind of I think he got up and like walked out like halfway through the show, like a little bit before intermission, like got up and just like walked out because he was so overly emotional, because he like realized that like this is what like my kid is gonna do. And I think that he felt really bad about not being there to support me in like my previous shows that I had done in high school. And I remember it was like it's kind of the first time that I saw my dad cry. And it was like it was super emotional. And I just remember like after the show him just saying like I'm so sorry that like I haven't been there for you to like support you in this. And like from that point on I think he came to like every single one of my shows that I had.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, sad but nice. This is a sad story, but like
I said, that's nice.
what about you?
I'm
Follow
like,
that, bitch.
I'm like, yeah. So my mom and my aunt just kind of went to all my shows, and
They were like, wow, she's really good.
well, no, I mean, like, and I said this probably, and I said this last episode, and I probably said it the very first episode too, being like, I did not fully like make the decision to like pursue theater until literally maybe the second half of my senior year in high school. Like it wasn't necessarily like it wasn't my trajectory for a long time. It
Mhm.
was kind of like, fuck yeah, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So when I remember having a conversation with my mom being like, well, I'm not going to go to these schools. I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to go to the conservatory and it's going to cost this much. It was basically like being like, let's talk about how we're going to pay for this school, right? And she just made me, when we were like filling out the loan paperwork and stuff, being like, I just want to make sure that like you want to do this because at the end of the day, this is a lot of money that you're gonna have to end up paying back sooner or later. Is it worth it to you to have all this mashigana, to have to move all the way to New York, pay all this money again to go to school? Like, is this going to be what you want to do? And it was like the conversation I had with her being like, I don't think you understand, being like, this is the only thing that's on my mind. Being like, I want to move to New York. I want to get out of this city and I want to like immerse myself. And that's the only way that I feel like I can do this for real. And
Mm-hmm.
then she was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Because like she would always go to all of my stuff and support me. And my aunt and my immediate family that lived in the area would always come and like, especially like once they found out I was doing good, um, like would come and support me. But like it was more like I don't think it was any like discussion. Be like, well, is he gonna keep doing this, or is it just more of like a, well, you're in high school and you need things to do in high school. But like, yeah, your story's a little better than mine. But like, it wasn't a competition.
No, it's not. It's not a competition at all.
Also, what makes water kosher?
Being blessed by a rabbi
But why is the smart water kosher?
because they don't make any unkosher products at the factory.
Tea. I said I just saw. I just watched a whole TikTok about a acidic Jewish woman telling me what all the kosher signals mean, signs on food products mean.
I would love to know how you got there, but hey,
What do you mean? I like learning new things.
do you feel that like from you being in theater that like you've offered more like insight into the theater world for your family?
Yeah, I mean, and especially like it helps that my husband also does theater. And to be completely honest, my family likes my husband more than they like me sometimes. So it's
Mm-hmm.
they love to gather information from the both of us. And so when it comes to like theater, like obviously my family saw their first Broadway shows because I wanted to do it, and like they thought that was cool, and they've seen the shows that I've worked on and that I've done. So, and they can now just like they keep more in tap with what's going on Broadway, being like, oh, I heard this show's going in, or like when Oh Mary started doing really well, like, oh, like I'm hearing more about Oh Mary, and like I'm seeing people do interviews, and like they are seeking out things knowing that I might know about them, or they might be a part of my life in some way, looking up people that are going to be in my show, being like, I know this person, or stuff like that. It's more of like, or like theater people, just like, I don't know. My mom knows who Patti LuPone is because Patti LuPone was on a TV show 25 years ago. That's why my mom knows
Yeah.
who Patti LuPone is. But like, I'm like, it's Patti LuPone, like Tony Award winning Broadway icon, legend, and star was. But like she has more of an interest to find out who theater people are, the theater world, or what's going on and how the Tonys work or how everything is, because I'm in theater. They now have an interest, especially now that like me and Kevin are both living in that world. And they loved when Kevin would go out do TV shows and movies because he was working with people who did know who he was.
They actually
So
know,
it felt
yeah.
more like you're like, what is it called? Like you're one person away from knowing someone. Like you're um damn it, I forgot what it was called, but like
Just saying.
you're one thing of separation from like
Yeah,
someone
okay.
else. Mm. And like my mom, when Kevin did Blue Bloods and Donnie Wahlberg's on Blue Bloods, like my mom and Kevin were both like big New Kids on the Block people. Like my mom would be like, so when are you gonna set up a dinner date between me and Donnie? And I've said, that's weird.
Okay.
Also married. Um, but so yeah, I would say long-winded answer to your question, but like yes, they have now more interest in what's going on, and whether it be in
Mm-hmm.
New York or in the theater space. That's like almost specifically just like my mom and my aunt. My brothers don't give a fuck about much. Not to say they're both like it's just not part of their world. So
Right.
it's like
No, I agree.
if
It's
I
kind of
if
the
I
same
probably asked them
thing.
what show I was working on, they'd be like, I don't know.
I think that they know more now. What it has like a kind of amazed me throughout the years and stuff is like my mom and my sister, they consume like so much theater. Like they're season ticket holders in Broadway and Chicago. They go to like Marriott Lincolnshire in Chicago all of the time. Like they're seeing a lot more shows than I am, which is tea. But I am like before when I was younger, like I remember that they were like some things that like my mom would just say. She would like sometimes I think she would be like, and she'll combat me for this and when she watches this episode, but I'm like, I feel like she used to say things like, I didn't like that the director like made that light choice. And I said, well, there's
Ooh,
this thing called like a lighting designer. And I'm like, it was
they're like,
probably, I was like, there was like they had very little knowledge of distinction between departments of
yeah,
shows. And I'm like, now when they go to shows, they're able to tell like distinctions between like the director and the choreographer. And like they'll make comments of like, well, I didn't know if it was the director's choice for the actor to make that acting choice or if it was just them, but it was a little weird or it was great. You know, they're
right.
able to kind of like actually give like I would say like valid criticism from like an audience member versus like before they had like I felt like they had no idea what they were talking about. They were like, it's good, it's bad, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing. But your mom has made waves because my family always has been like it's good, it's bad, which is it's good to know when things are good and when things are bad. Or
Yeah.
like, or have you ever like gone and saw something with your family that'd be like, oh my god, it was really really good, but like because you're a theater person, you're like good.
Yes.
Or if you're like hypercritical of something and they're like, it was fun. And you're like, I hated this. The acting was bad. But like,
Yes, and they're like you're just looking for something to pick. And I was like, no, I'm
no.
like it just wasn't good. Either that or like sometimes it's like my biggest pet peeve I think when listen, everybody does it all the time because I'm like, oh, you speak on things that like you don't really know about, but like when you work in this industry, like there are things that you know more about than just somebody who doesn't. So I'm like sometimes like people or like my mom or my sister like would say things that I'm just like, oh my god, that's just so not true. And
Yeah.
they would be like, well, what I mean, like we would get into arguments about it, and I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, but tenfold, they've come so far. I'm so proud.
I've brought my like I mean can we talk more about like what I said before, just like in terms of like finding like a chosen family when it comes to, I mean, at this point when it comes to theater, it's mostly like your other actors that you go on auditions with or like the people you went to school with and stuff like that. Because I would say like that's a form of family too. It's the people who you force to do self tapes with you. It's the people who, like who keep your art going when there's no one else that can do that for you. And I would say, like for me at least, it's a lot. It's my husband, it's you, it's our other
Hmm.
friends. It's the way to be like, let me, and it's very nice that all of us are basically theater people. Oh my god, my arms, they look so big. It helps that we're theater people, so like we basically know what we're talking about. Could you imagine if like, I don't know, that like Kai worked in like finance and he just like met us at a bar somewhere and then he's
God,
like,
how boring.
yeah, like I liked your show, man, like what like I think it's really cool. Which also, I say that being like, I need to find friends who aren't in theater. I need more find not theater friends.
That's a good
Okay.
that's a good goal for next year.
I basically was just like, it's good to have that support system. It's good to have those friends, but also I want to find people who aren't in theater.
No, I mean like because I think in a sense it's also probably the same thing that like other people who aren't in theater kind of deal with. Like we know nothing about their worlds. Like I look at my cousin who like works like a 9 to 5 like corporate job, and she's like, oh yeah, like she's like, I'm in the office from like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I'm like, that's crazy. But then we're in tech week and we have like full tens, like 10-hour days. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what's the difference? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I would say to bring like our little spiels, just being like, hey, sometimes your family isn't gonna get it, but sometimes it's not for them to get. Sometimes they're gonna get it too much, and then you'll, have a mama rose. And to that, I say, good luck, kudos to you. I don't know, Lana. I don't have any. I don't have much
I
more to
think,
say.
yeah, I think that, like, listen, like, if you have family members who just don't get it or don't want to get it or don't support you in this life, in all honesty, it's not their life. And that's kind of a blanket statement to put over because everybody has different situations that they're dealing with, but ultimately, like, you have to do what makes you happy and you have to pursue that. And also, if you're gonna go down this path of theater and working in this industry and it doesn't work out, then you say that you did it. That's, like, we all are living and walking down this road and eventually, like, we'll get to where we need to get. But I would suggest that if you don't feel the support system and people who are your biological family, to try and outsource and find comfort and peace in a chosen family for you. That's, like, kind of my biggest advice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. That's what I said. Alana, do you have any key points from this week? Any highlights that happened to you? Or this week, 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks since our last episode. Raise the spirits before we leave. No, nothing. Nothing happened. Well, I would say I did watch the VMAs and the Emmys.
Yeah.
And I've always just thought the Emmys were boring. I think that the Emmys are cool, but like the Emmys, like the award show is kind of boring because like there's never really any performances. There's maybe like one or two, and then like it's just like a bunch of like the host trying to be funny, and I don't know. I just like it when award shows are more grandiose. But the VMAs were great. Sabrina Carpenter, 8. Doja Cat, 8. Everyone else kind of okay. And Ariana Grande made her first appearance in like 7 years. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, I would say that. We need to find something we need to like add at the end of episodes to be like a touchstone, like being like a come back to life, come back to earth moment.
Has there been like a funny theater moment that's like happened? I will say something that made me laugh this week. Though is like the new like promo videos of the songs for a new world. I mentioned this the other day when we were hanging out. I was like, Liz, it sounds great. They look fantastic, but that song will never not be awkward. And it like makes me laugh. You can't like not do that song and like just everybody is just coming out from a different entrance of the stage and just
Listen, Jason Robert Brown, I love Songs for the New World. I think that it's probably some of the best work that he's ever done. But I agree.
yeah.
I think
It's one of my favorite shows. Like I love that show. The music hits.
But I mean, I wish I could see it. I mean, it's a stacked cast: Jordan Fisher, Joy Woods, Shoshana Bean, and Titus Burgess. Eat. Oh my goodness. Well, I think that's probably the end of the podcast, girl. We're at time.
We are. Well, we hope you enjoyed. And listen, if you want to be
Well, goodbye.
if you're listening to this, if you have a friend who's in theater or somebody who is super interesting and fun and creative and you want to be a guest on the podcast, like reach out to us, let us know. Or if you have any ideas of people who would be good guests on our podcast. Like we said, we definitely have people in mind. It's not that we can't get people on the pod. It's just everybody's busy.
They don't like us.
No, that's not true. Everybody's just busy. But yeah, we hope that you're enjoying like listening to these little episodes, these little shindigs that we happen and love them. So if you are watching, if you are listening, please like, follow, subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere.
You
that
could be
can
watching
find
right now on
podcasts.
YouTube.
Yeah, you can watch it right now on YouTube. But we hope that you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Enter music right here.
Dun, 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 dun.